Everybody doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Ready for a fun-filled week of talking about filmmaking, right? So let's get into it, right? Today is going to be a lot of stuff to talk about today. So I got to squeeze it into 2 hours. So I'm going to do my best to do this. So today we're going to talk about the whole process, this whole idea of how do we make a movie? So what does Hollywood have, or the big film industry, the filmmaker, the people making movies have that you guys don't have? There's a couple things they don't have, but there's one that I'm most specifically looking for.
Money.
Studio.
Okay, money. What else?
Camera.
Oh, I can have access to cameras. What else?
Oh, well, I said big name actors.
Okay, actors.
Talent.
Are you saying you don't have talent?
Not developed.
Oh, okay. See there. All right. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, and nobody, I don't want to hear no name talent here. I want to hear undeveloped talent. Okay, so talent. But there's one thing I'm going to say that everyone's missing.
Studios.
Can independent people make movies? Yeah, all right. So what is it do you think they have that you may not have? That's not money, that's not talent, not best buds with, famous actors.
Networking.
Networking. Well, I throw that in with them, but one last thing.
Experience. All
right, I'll give it to you guys. So they have the process, the whole process of how to do this. So here's the secret in the industry. There's a fixed process. How long movies been made for over 100 years now, right? So Hollywood, and I'm using Hollywood as a general term, the filmmaking industry in particular, has an established workflow on how to make something. And no matter if it's an independent film, a major blockbuster, a music video, a TV show, a documentary, it doesn't matter what it is, almost all of them follow the same workflow to making something. So the key here is, how do I take what's inside here and get it here on the screen? And the answer is the workflow, the process, the production process. That's what it is. And so anybody who's even attempted to do this has, if they know what they're doing, or if they feel like they want a chance to succeed, they're going to follow this workflow. And we're going to talk about that today, how to do this. How do I pull what's inside my head, get it on a piece of paper, and then get it on the screen? So it's a tried and true system that's been done hundreds, if not thousands of times, tens of thousands of times over the last 100 years. So for you guys, the trick here is learning how to do this. And I think that's stage one. Yeah, you need money, right? You're not going to be able to, oh, well, I know the process and I'm going to make a movie. I want to make, the next Star Wars. So, okay, well, I just need $30 million, right? I can do it without $30 million. No, you still need the money, but no one's going to take you seriously if you don't understand this process. And that's the key here. When people first start out, they kind of, I'm not saying everybody, but in general, some people might just think, oh, well, it's just going to happen. I'm just going to write it and shoot it and it'll just happen, right? No, you need to get down this path of this production process in order to do it. And so if you learn the process, then when you start looking for money to fund your films, people will take you serious. If you don't do any of this stuff, or you do half of it or a quarter of it or none of it, people will quickly realize that you don't know what you're doing. And am I going to invest any money in you if I don't think you know what you're doing? Right? Does that make sense? I'm not going to do that. So part of being able to get the money is to be able to prove or show or demonstrate that you understand the process. You understand how movies work and not just about, oh, well, what they're like on screen or how to write one, but the actual, how do I actually make one? What is it? What is it that I need to know? What do I need to do? What do I have to take into account for all this stuff? So what I'm going to talk about today is basically a stripped down version of this. It's going to be the high flight looking down at the whole process. You know, we'll go into the details. We're not going to go microscopically in the details because we just don't have the time to do it. But the goal of this part of today's class is for you guys to understand this process and apply it to your own work and then develop it down the road. Whether you take another class with me, or you go look at some YouTube videos, or you take do something else, or buy a book, doesn't matter. This is the introduction to it. The long-term results of doing this path is that every time you do it, you get better at it. You get a little bit better, and at some point you transition from the, hey, I'm just trying to figure this out, to, hey, I know what I'm doing when I'm doing this. And guess what? Then suddenly you're more of a professional filmmaker. Maybe somebody might take you serious. So the production process, how visual storytelling will go from an idea to film. And again, what I'm stressing here is that this same process happens every single time, no matter what you're doing. And yeah, some companies, some people are going to have their own modification of this, but in general, the steps are pretty much the same and the concepts are pretty much the same. So there's 5 stages to this process. Can anybody guess what the first one is?
Pre-production?
Ooh, close, but no cigar.
Storyboarding?
Development.
Ooh, nope. Take one more guess. Nobody's going to roll the dice. Oh, what was that? I heard something.
I said writing.
Okay, that's as close as I'm going to take. So you're just about there. So development. Oh, and you're like, oh, of course, right? No, duh. Development. Okay, so after development, first we're going to get development. The next, we're going to go into pre-production. Then we're going into production. Then post-production. And then finally, distribution. So these 5 simple, they look simple, right? They're just one word ideas, right? Development, pre-production, post-production, distribution. 5 simple steps, right? Makes pretty much common sense, right? Can't go into production if I don't develop. I can't go into pre-production. I have something I develop.
I'm assuming a lot goes into it.
I can't start any of this stuff without it. Okay, so I would be shocked if anybody does this out of order, because really this is a format that works, and it's a format that you have to kind of follow in order to get it done. You could take shortcuts. You might say, you know what, I'm just going to go into pre-production and development at the same time. You can try that, but guess what? You're probably not going to get a product that's really that well, a film or a story done right, because it's just not properly developed. You might say, well, I can go into production and post-production at the same time. That's possibly true, because the model's changing now about how we do stuff. Definitely changing now because of the pandemic. What used to be separate production and post-production are now starting to blend together. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. In the end, it's all about distribution, right? Because once you get distribution, well, you've sold your film, and then happy ending for all of us. So let's talk about this first one right here, development.